You're listening to the Fun Never Ends podcast with Metalhead Nelson and Brutal Brett. Find us at funneverendspodcast.com. Hey, welcome to the Fun Never Ends podcast. I am your Metalhead Nelson, and with me is Brutal Brett. Brutal Brett, how you doing, man?
I'm feeling pretty epic today, as we have someone who is making some epic ink, someone who is a certified geek, and someone who is also a toy collector as much as they are a headbanger. I'd like to introduce Chris51. Chris, it's a pleasure.
The Alpha Geek himself. Welcome to the show, man.
How's it going,
good,
gentlemen?
man?
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on. We love having you on, man.
Man, for those who are only listening, I must say you have to see his backdrop. It has some of the coolest art that you can think of, from The Simpsons to, I believe that is
Vic
Iron Maiden
Rattlehead
as
from
well.
Megadeth. Vic Rattlehead from Megadeth, the Mental Health cover, and all of The Simpsons. Holy hell, that is fucking
those are
badass.
all ones that I've painted up there. There's some of the ones I've painted up there. So
those are badass, man.
Thank you.
For all you metalheads out there, Headbanger Con, Seattle, November 9th and 10th. For more info, go to headbangercon.com. Chris, how did you come up with Headbanger Con, man? Can you tell us the story, please?
Oh man, it's a crazy story. I'll try not to spend hours on it. I'll do the abbreviated version. All right. So, with my TV show that I tattooed on, Epic Ink, as you aforementioned, it kind of opened the doors to tattooing at a lot of like Comic-Cons and stuff like that, and Walking Dead cons, and all those types of entertainment cons. Once you start tattooing at those, you're in the green room, you're eating lunch with the celebrities, and all of a sudden they start talking tattoos. Before you know it, you're tattooing them, Yeah. And I'm tattooing Walking Dead guys and Sons of Anarchy guys, and then it leads to tattooing rock stars and this and that. And that's how it kind of led to that sort of clientele. Once I started tattooing rock stars at Comic-Cons and mixing the two genres, I realized that most metalheads are geeks, I don't know a metalhead out there that doesn't love Star Wars or Lord of the Rings or cool shit like that, And I started inviting these guys, I'm in Atlanta, so I'm inviting Seven Dust or wherever I'm at, the bands that I know, and I'm tattooing these rock stars at these Comic-Cons, and a lot of these guys have never been to them. So they're getting tattooed, and they're like, oh, there's a fucking stormtrooper just walked by, and and they're seeing cosplayers, and they're seeing, dude, that's Darth Maul, or that's that guy from that movie, or, and they're kind of geeking out too. And I realized, there's nothing that mixes the two. There's no kind of like Comic-Con for heavy metal. And so I was like, I need to do this like this. This is my calling. So I kind of went from there. I kind of took my Comic-Con experience and my love for heavy metal, and I mashed the two together, and that's what Headbangers Con is. Headbangers Con is that kind of Comic-Con atmosphere where there's booths, and instead of the celebrities from TV shows and movies signing and talking with fans and doing selfies, and it's rock stars, kind of like you'd have at a meet and greet before a concert. But we've all been to the meet and greets before concerts, and they're like 5 seconds, and they push you through, and they're done, and you pay like $200 for it or $100 for it. Fuck that, dude. So here, they're there all day, just like at a Comic-Con. And you walk up to Chad Gray from Mudvayne, or Bruce Kulick from Kiss, or somebody from Disturbed, or 80s, 90s, all the way up to today. And you walk up there and you get to talk to them about their albums and sex, drugs, rock and roll, all the shit we want to hear, and you get to choose autographs. You bring your albums in to get signed, or your guitar in to get signed. And it's like an all day kind of festival for metalheads, and then at night I have live shows at night. I have School of Rock. The kids come down and they jam out, and I do during the day, the concerts are at night, and during the day I do live panels like you'd have at a Comic-Con. I do live panels on stage. So we get up there like Jay Leno style with a couch and we just talk and we do interviews about stories that you've never heard before, So it's
all the stories
that
people want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a cool, unique thing. And you don't pay anything. You pay way less than you pay for one meet and greet. But here, instead of one band, you're going to meet 20 to 25 guys from different bands, So that's kind of that's the short version, believe it or not. That's kind of like where I'm coming from for Headbangers Con. So,
well, for all the headbangers, we want to thank you for creating Headbanger Con. The closest thing to a Headbanger Con was NAMM show, but not everybody could get into the NAMM show.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, I thank you for bringing people. Well, in my experience, people like when I think of a nerd but a headbanger, the biggest picture in my head is George Fisher from Cannibal Corpse, who is known for playing League of Legends, playing World of Warcraft, but also loving to play like claw machines, and in what I consider the heaviest death metal band.
Right.
Yeah. So thank you for doing that.
Man, you're welcome, dude. I love it, and I love
adding things like. Oh.
No, go ahead.
Sorry, I can't hear that well, unfortunately.
That's all right. You go ahead, buddy. Can you hear me, Brett? I don't think Brett can hear me, so I'm gonna expand on what he was saying, and about like Cannibal Corpse and being nerds and stuff. And that's one really cool thing is you get to discover by talking to these guys the passions that they have for things other than metal. And it's so similar to what we're all into, whether it be video games or collecting action figures, or playing Magic or Pokemon. I mean, whatever, it's awesome to discover all this stuff from these guys, And one thing I'm adding this year, which I thought is really cool, is I've talked to some of these guys, like John Moyer, the bass player from Disturbed. Okay. Chris Poland from Megadeth, one original Megadeth guitarist. I've talked to him about this.
Oh yeah.
We're going to do some master classes where you pay a couple bucks extra, there might be 20 seats only, very limited to 20 people. And you get an hour-long master class from these legends, tricks and tips and lessons and all that stuff. If you're a bass player, you sign up. You're a guitar player, you're a drummer. So that's one thing we're adding this year too, which I thought would be pretty cool, is to be able to participate, in such an intimate setting with these guys like that.
That is pretty cool. The lineup so far, I know you got Gary Holt from Exodus and Slayer. Yeah, Bruce Kulick from Kiss and Grand Funk. Vinny Appice from Last in Line, Dio. That's going to be a whole lot more. And I know you have more guests coming in, and that's going to kick ass, man.
Yeah, I really try and get a couple people from every genre. I myself, I'm a huge 80s. I love hair metal, dude. So if it was up to me, it'd be nothing but Twisted Sister, Motley Crue, Rat, Quiet Riot. If it was up to me, it'd be all that. But I gotta think of what all metalheads like, and then I love thrash metal too. So it'd be nothing but Anthrax, Exodus, Metallica, Slayer, Megadeth, all that stuff.
There you go.
So I try and get, a couple death metal guys, a couple 80 metal guys. I'm actually right now I'm talking to Sean and two of the guys from the original White Zombie lineup to have like a White Zombie duo there. I'm talking, like I said, I'm talking to Chris Poland. I actually just signed. This could be the exclusive announcement on your show here. I just signed Chris Poland from Megadeth. Who's going to be teaching that guitar class, which is really cool, So I'm always talking to guys every day. I'm annoying them. I'm nagging them, But something about, I think, I'm a tattoo artist. I'm not some sleazy promoter. And I don't pretend to be. I'm just a metalhead who tattoos guys and wants to gather all the metalheads together to have a party, And I that these guys, they see that. They see my sincerity and my fandom, and So a lot of these guys are doing this just to be part of the community. They're doing it very inexpensively. Some of them are doing it for tattoos from me, you know. So I kind of have this unique position. Yeah, I got this position where I can kind of get these guys to come meet the fans and stuff, and they trust me where they would do things that maybe they would be outside of their comfort zone, you know.
So let's talk, since we're on the subject of ink, let's talk about Epic Ink. And then you got 2 new reality shows coming up called Collectors Inc. and Headbanger Live. Can you care to talk about that, please?
Yeah. Epic Inc. was a show I made on A&E in 2014 and 15, I believe. I was kind of sick of all the tattoo shows at the time, you know, the LA Ink and the Miami Ink, and everyone was fighting and yelling, and it was a bunch of bullshit. Dude. Like, my friends, we're all a bunch of comic book nerds. You know, we're in tattooing because we used to draw comics, and we used to draw Star Wars characters and Eddie from Iron Maiden, and that's why we're tattoo artists. You know, we're not in it because we're these outlaw criminals that want to fight all the time. So I thought the way they were representing the tattoo industry was wrong. It was a very small percentage of the tattoo industry. So I came up with an idea to kind of share my world of tattooing with the public, you know, and I came up with Epic Inc., you know, and we ran it by Sci-Fi Network. They gave us a couple bucks to make a sizzle reel at first, and they almost bought it, and then they denied it, and I was pretty bummed. I casted my whole own cast. I shot on my location. I made all the storylines, and I created this thing. I was pretty bummed that Sci-Fi didn't pick it up. And then here we were just wanting a pilot episode, and A&E Network got a hold of it, and they're like, we're going to give you more than a pilot. We're going to give you 10 episodes. And that was pretty amazing. They gave us a huge budget and a few $1 million to make this show. And they put our billboards up on Hollywood Boulevard and Sunset Strip. And my ugly mug was up there by Whiskey A Go-Go and stuff. You know, it's pretty damn cool. And that show changed my life. You know, that show really opened a lot of doors for me, and the hard work that I put into it showed me that, shit, I can manifest whatever I want to do. Anything's possible. You know, if I can get a reality TV show on a major network and I have 2 million people a week watching it, you know, like, the sky's the limit at that point. So ever since that show, I've been dabbling in lots of other projects, and I decided after shooting a couple more pilots for other shows that didn't take off, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to go to a network. I'm not going to beg someone else to do it. I'm going to do this shit my damn self. You know, I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to do it myself. And so I've started making shows that I want to make without people telling me yes or no or whatever. So we started, my friends and I, a couple friends of mine, Pawn and Tom, that were on Ink Master. We started a show called Collectors Inc., and we crowdfunded it, and all our fans helped support us and stuff like that. And we shot 3 episodes. They should be on Amazon Prime by the end of the year. And it's basically if you mixed Epic Inc. with like maybe Jackass and Pawn Stars, I would say those 3, you know, a bunch of idiots doing stupid stuff, but all in the name of collecting and trying to find those holy grail collectibles that we're after, and some tattooing, you know, since it is a tattoo show. So that's Collectors Inc., and that'll be coming out, I would say, within the next 6 months. It's taken since we're doing it ourselves, it's taken a couple years to edit it. I mean, I'm editing it myself with my camera guy. I'm the whole deal. Like, it's a lot. It's a labor of love for sure. And then in the meantime, while we were doing that, my same camera guy, he was so good. He's such a metalhead. His name's Ticker. He's got Tourette's, and he's like, he's crazy all the time. He's awesome. And he was so good behind the camera that I pulled his ass onto the set, and I made him one of the characters. And we do a show called Headbangers Live, where we give fans a perspective of a heavy metal concert. You know, from the moment the van's into the parking lot early in the morning, and the sound crew and the stage setup and everything that goes into it, you know, to the green rooms, the dress rehearsal, that them showing them getting in costume or whatever, to a sound check, to the merch booth setup. Like, we show the whole deal, and then the concert happens, and we're actually down in the mosh pit, and we're down with the fan. Then we're the fans, you know.
Oh yeah.
So we kind of show the whole perspective of and we film with Soulfly, we film with POD, Nonpoint, All That Remains. So we have some pretty good bands, and we got about 3 episodes of that too. And we're hoping to get Collectors Inc. and Headbangers Live both on Prime by the end of the year. So we're working hard on that. So that's kind of what I'm up to. Just a little bit of stuff I'm up to.
Looking forward to that. Brett, I know you got stuff you want to ask Chris too. Brett.
Can Brett hear us?
I think not. I think he's having kind of trouble.
Yeah. He's having technical difficulties.
So I'll run by the next couple of questions until he gets this all situated.
All right, yeah, no worries.
Talking about your legendary artwork. It's all, I know it's cartoony style. If you could tattoo one of your favorite toys from your collection, which one would it be and where would it go?
Oh man, that's a good question. I've tattooed so much of that kind of stuff that I don't have a lot left. Oh wait, I know. Do you remember the old LJN rubber wrestlers that came out in the 80s? The Hulk Hogan and Roddy Piper, and they were rubber and they were like indestructible. Yeah, they were posed like, you know.
You could position them anyway.
Yeah. And LJN was the manufacturer of those. Those things are worth a ton now. I think I have 79 of the original figures in mint on card in my collection. If I could tattoo anything, I would love to do some of those old rubber wrestlers, like make them look like rubber, like realistic, you know, like the toy. Yeah. I think that'd be a lot of fun to do. So anyone out there to taker, I will give you a deal on tattooing one of those LJN rubber wrestlers from the 80s.
That'll be badass. You gotta add brother to it. Oh yeah.
Right, exactly. I love it. Or you can tattoo like Macho Man with his little cup of creamer, like, ooh, cream rises. Yeah, you know. Yeah, I would love to do that.
Throw a WWF title on there while you're at it too.
Yeah, it'd be great.
I take it you're a huge wrestling nerd as well.
Old school wrestling, you know. I love today. It's not like it used to be, you know. But I love old school wrestling for sure. If you had to name your top 5 favorite wrestlers
of all time, who would they be, and who would you love to tattoo?
Well, unfortunately, most of the ones I like have passed away. You know, Roddy Piper is my all-time favorite. I met him when I was a kid at a restaurant, and he was the nicest guy ever, and I've idolized him since that day. You know, he's from Oregon here where I'm at, so I think his whole family's still around here. So Roddy Piper's definitely king of the mountain on that. I loved Macho Man. I mean, who doesn't love Macho Man? You know, I love Rude. The Ultimate Warrior, of course, you know, and Hulk Hogan. I've met Hulk Hogan on a Zoom like this. Hulk Hogan and I shot the shit for about a half hour, and he was the most down to earth dude ever. I love him. I love that guy. So I would say that's probably my Mount Rushmore. I can hear again,
but now I can't see Chris, unfortunately.
Oh well, we hear you, Brett. We hear you, bud.
We hear you loud and clear.
This is. I can hear. I just don't see Chris, but I can hear him.
That's all. You don't need to see my ugly face, man. We just listen. That's all good.
I'm incredibly embarrassed. I'm not sure why it does this. It does it whenever there's 3 people, and I wish there was an explanation because I'm utterly embarrassed for this.
No worries, no need, man. We're all just here bullshitting. So if we can all hear each other, that's all we need, dude.
I'm just, I
It's all
will
good, dude.
concede the interview to Nelson. Unfortunately, this is not working on my end. Unfortunately, yeah, I'm sorry. I'll thank you, Chris. I had a lot of questions I wanted to ask. I hope you can hear this at least. I will concede to Nelson until I figure something out.
We'll do it again. Hey, Nelson, tell Brett that we'll do it again another time with him. Also, we'll figure it out and we'll do a second one.
It sounds good, man. I'll let him know. He's got a busy schedule. We both work together, so he's got a busy schedule on his own.
Right
so
on.
As we were talking about wrestling, you met Hulk Hogan, and that's where you left off.
Yeah. A huge fan. I actually I've met Jake the Snake before. I used to have a line of tattoo ink, my own company, and I made a color named after Jake the Snake. It was Jake the Snake's Python and Jake the Snake's some other green. And I was the first tattoo artist to put a celebrity endorsement on a label on a tattoo ink. I was also the first tattoo artist to put a nice big pair of tits on a tattoo ink bottle. I made a color called Baywatch, which, as you can imagine, would just be a bright red like the bikinis, you know. So I had fun doing that kind of stuff for sure. Yeah. I put profanities on the bottles. I put dicks on bottles, like you name it. I loved it, man. I had fun. It pissed off a lot of people, and that made it even better, you know?
Yeah. So Brett had a question. We talked about this before this happened. He wants to know, what are your top 5 worst tattoos you've ever seen and placement for those?
Oh, boy. Well,
if you even
I've
have
seen
a top
lot.
5.
I've seen a lot of shit out there. Trust me.
Yeah.
Even in my own town, there's a lot of shit that I cover up. And, you know, I think what happens is a lot of artists, they see what's out there on the internet and on social media, and they're young and they think that they can do it. You know, maybe their ego or whatever's ahead of where it should be, and they attempt these things that they're not ready to do. I didn't tattoo my first portrait until I was 5 years into the game. You know, I just didn't feel like I was ready as an artist to do that. So I think a lot of people jump the gun and they end up doing these horrific tattoos that then I'm stuck covering up, you know, which is a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
So I've seen a lot, especially traveling the world to tattoo, trust me. As far as ones I've done, I don't know, man. It's crazy. I'm at the point in my career, I've been tattooing almost 25 years. So I'm kind of snobby. Like, I don't do shit that I don't want to do anymore because I don't really need to. I've earned that right over the couple decades that I just want to do cartoons and heavy metal shit and fun stuff that inspires me, you know? And then I don't put down anyone's idea. I don't, you know, do anything like that. I just refer them to someone else at my shop or someone else even in town that might do a better job or have more enjoyment doing it than myself, you know? So it's hard for me to come up with a list of stuff like that when I just really don't do it. I do know one, my least favorite. I'll give you my least favorite tattoo I've ever done.
Perfect.
Okay.
All right.
I had a guy come in one time and his last name was King, King. And he wanted a king's crown around his dick. Right. And I had never tattooed. I had never tattooed a dick at that point in my life. So I told him I needed to think about this, you know, think about it long and hard, you know. So I was like, you know what? I need to know what this is like. So me being the, you know, the thorough tattoo artist that I am and the researcher I am, I decided to tattoo my own dick to get a perspective on how. I mean, how do you bend it? How do you stretch it? It's soft, hard. Like I had no idea. So I tattooed my own dick and it hurt so bad. I basically passed myself out. I collapsed like onto my massage table. Thank God I was hiding my dick under the massage table, tattooing it because there were other people in the shop, and I just went clunk, and it hurt so bad. And it took me like a year and a half to get the balls, no pun intended, to get the balls to finish it. It took me like a year and a half. So I ended up doing it. and I tattooed a crown with little jewels around his dick. And I told him, dude, you know, I am the furthest thing from gay in the world. I have nothing against it, but I don't have a desire to go around touching other guys' dicks, you know? Yeah. So I told him it'd be a $500 handling fee. And then, you know, to try and persuade him not to do it, $500 handling fee, and then the cost of the tattoo. And he was like, sure. And I was like, shit, now I really have to do it. You know? So I ended up doing it. And it was a very weird situation. But you know what? The guy was cool. And it ended up being, you know, a pretty cool experience. And I got to say I did it. So he was happy with it. So, hey, to each their own. You know what I mean? Like, but that was definitely the weirdest, craziest tattoo I've done.
A crown jewel on a crown jewel. There it is.
Yeah, exactly. The family jewels right above the family jewels, man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, man, as a fan of both geek culture and metal, if you had to design a tattoo, Rockstar based on a classic video game or a comic book, what would it be, and what would you create?
So a comic book so basically I'm mashing up a comic book character with metal. Is that what you're saying?
Well, if you had to design a tattoo based for a Rockstar, it's a tattoo for a Rockstar based classic video game or a comic book. What would it be?
Oh, man.
What would you create?
Oh man, that's a good question. And I love doing that kind of stuff. In my industry, it's called mashups, right? So I'll do like I just painted a Bart Simpson as Gene Simmons with the makeup on, and I called it Bart Simmons. Wow. You know, so I guess that would be considered. There was Bongo made Simpsons comics, right? So I guess that'd be considered bringing Kiss in with Simpsons comics. So I actually just painted that one. It's on my Instagram, maybe a dozen posts back or so. You can see it. So I would say my first choice is definitely Kiss or Iron Maiden. You know, you have to bring in Eddie or Vic, you know, back here. Eddie or Vic or Vic Kiss. Yeah. I would say that. I did I started one called Piece of Minion, which was a minion as Eddie from Iron Maiden. And the minion was in the straight jacket, you know, like Piece of Mind. Yeah. So I dabble in that kind of stuff all the time. I love it. I mean, nothing better than mixing those two cultures, dude, for sure.
Oh, hell yeah. It doesn't beat it, and it works well. Speaking of Kiss, awesome. I have a tattoo on my arm.
Hell yeah. I love it. I got this Vic that's from my painting that you see right there. Right? And you know that
is badass.
And Ed Repka, who is the artist that created Vic and has done hundreds of heavy metal album covers, and he did Peace Cells and, you know, Rust in Peace and stuff like that. I'm actually in negotiations with him right now to come to Headbangers Con. And I think I have him just about signed to actually be bringing all his art and all his prints, you know, like original stuff, like all his Vic prints and his album covers. So, you know, to me, that's an awesome celebrity, because that's mixing metal and art, which are my two favorite genres. So I think I'll be having him there at Headbangers Con too. So it's not just rock stars, it's people that are in the rock and roll industry that have made a huge impact. You know, I had Derek Riggs, who basically invented Eddie from Iron Maiden. I had him at the last Headbangers. So I was like, well, how do I top that, or how do I equal that? I'm like, I'm going to get Ed. And Ed, he does all the action figures, all the cards for all the, you know, all the Super 7 reaction figures. You know, they're coming out with Motley Crue and Bon Scott and the Ghost figures, and they're all like the old school, like G.I. Joe size figures. He does all the artwork on all the music ones. Yeah, it's incredible, dude.
Wow.
So I'm bringing him to Headbangers so
look
people can bring their toys, their records, and they get them all signed and stuff. It'd be pretty fun.
That's badass, man. Hopefully me and Brett can make it either this year or next year. So if you ever think about bringing it down to...
I hope you can. If you can make it up to Seattle in November, dude, I do a Friday nights like red carpet press VIP party, and I invite all the press, local, national, all the podcasts I've done. That all are invited, and it's just them and no public. And we all just hang out with all the rock stars, and we drink, we take pictures on the red carpet together, and we just have a blast, dude. So if you can make it, you two are invited to that. You and Brett.
We'll definitely keep you posted on that. So,
right on.
Thank you for the invitation.
Yeah.
Let's see. Well, we all know some celebrities have let's say unique taste. The most ridiculous. What's the most ridiculous and hilarious tattoo idea for musician or actor has pitched to you, aside from the whole dick thing?
Oh, so you mean one that I've done on a celebrity? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, celebrity or rock star.
Okay.
The most ridiculous or hilarious one.
Well, most celebrities are pretty tame when it comes to the tattoos they want, because they know the public's going to be judging them. They're going to be seen in movies and stuff like that. So a lot of them are small, hidden type tattoos, except for Norman Reedus, who played Daryl on Walking Dead. I did a skull on his hand. That's his logo. And you can see it like in every episode, which is pretty cool. He didn't give a shit. He's like, let him see it. But so that's the case I find with most celebrities. Rock stars, on the other hand, they don't give a fuck. They don't care. So I've done some pretty cool ones. I would say Charlie Benante from Anthrax and now Pantera. I've done, I think, probably 3 or 4 Simpsons tattoos on him. I've done a Beatles tattoo, a Beatles cartoon tattoo on him. I've done Krusty the Clown on him.
Oh, wow.
I've done quite a few Simpsons on him, which you wouldn't think Charlie from Anthrax, but all his whole upper sleeves are Simpsons and stuff. It's pretty cool. I did one I really loved doing is I'm really good friends with Butch Patrick, who plays Eddie Munster in the Munsters, the kid Munster.
Eddie Munster. Yeah.
I call him Uncle B. I call him Uncle B for Uncle Butch. Butch really helped. I connected with him, and he really helped guide me through celebrityism, I guess, is a thing. How to get an agent that you trust and what to watch out for in Hollywood. When I first kind of made it, when I had the TV show and I started getting, I say loosely the term celebrity, my 12 minutes of celebrityism, he really helped me. So I look at him like a father figure. He's a great man. So I tattooed him, and I did. He loves the Beatles, and I tattooed the Yellow Submarine from the Beatles. But coming out of the hatch on the top of the submarine was Eddie Munster as a Simpsons character. So Eddie Munster was riding in the Yellow Submarine, but like with the green face, like, in the TV show. So that's probably like my favorite celebrity tattoo, just because it has a lot of meaning to me on a personal level.
Okay. That's pretty badass. I'm actually friends with Butch on Facebook. I've met him before. Nice guy. He's
the best.
Cool as hell.
He is the best. He texts me and asks me how my son's football game went and this and that. He really cares. Like he's an awesome human being. Yeah.
How did that go? How did the tournament go?
Well, my son broke his wrist in the last tournament, and he's a huge quarterback prospect.
Is he okay?
Yeah, luckily it wasn't his throwing hand. So that's good. He'll be in and out of a cast in a month, but he's a big quarterback prospect here. He's ranked in the top 5 in the state of Oregon for his age. So any injury that will sideline him even for a few weeks is devastating to the family. Because all we do, if I'm not doing heavy metal stuff for art, we're training for him to be the next Tom Brady, hopefully, minus the divorce and the cheating wife, of course, with Tom Brady.
Well, hoping for a speedy recovery for your son, and
thank you.
Best of luck going forward. So,
appreciate that.
Let's go with given your involvement in Headbanger Con. I'm sorry, let me fix my wording. Which heavy metal legend do you think would be the biggest baby in the chair, and which tattoo would they want?
Ooh, that's pretty good. It's always the big tough guys that are the biggest pussies, like I'm a pussy in the chair. I hate getting tattooed. I really am. I don't know. For some reason, I think like Kerry King from Slayer. He's so intimidating looking and stuff. But I wonder tattooing him like on a stomach or on a really sensitive part, just how tough he would actually be. Let's see. Let's get Kerry King in my chair, and we'll see we'll see if he's tough. Maybe Bruce Dickinson too.
I heard when he got that tattoo on his head. Oh yeah,
I know. Head's not bad. I bet you Bruce Dickinson.
That tattoo cried.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Something about Bruce. I think he would just kind of be like, some of his operatic singing, like, he'd be hurting. He'd be hurting something because, and he's English, and English are kind of more wimps than we are anyway. So I'm gonna go right out there and say, I got a lot of English tattoo artist friends, and they're all a bunch of wimps. So I'm calling them out right now. That's you, Chris Jones. Well, if I call him English, I'm going to get in trouble. He's Welsh. But my castmate from Epic Geek, Chris Jones, he's a puss too. So, but I am too. Hey.
Hey, when I got my tattoos, man, it took me years to think about it. Sat 4 hours in the chair for that Ace Frehley one, and I was like, hey, at the end, it's like, oh man, it's good. It's not as bad as it was.
Yeah. Yeah, they're bad. I love that Ace Frehley.
Depending
tattoo.
on the color,
awesome, dude. Yeah.
Had to. I'm a huge Kiss fan, so it's a must.
That's awesome. It's awesome. I'm excited. I got Bruce, like you said, I got Bruce Kulick coming, and I love those years, the Bruce Kulick years in the mid to late '80s of Kiss. So I'm excited, dude. I'm gonna have him bring his guitar, the guitar that's painted like the Asylum cover. I'm gonna have him bring that so fans can do photo ops and they can hold his guitar and pose with his guitar. So I'm really excited for that. I'll be the first one in line, dude. I'm gonna make everybody wait. I'm gonna pull rank. I'm gonna be like, I'm the owner of this bitch. I am getting the first picture with Bruce, and I'm holding the guitar first before there's fingerprints on it. So I'm gonna pull rank on that one.
Do it.
Yeah,
I met Bruce twice. One as dressed up as Ace Frehley, and then I met him last July at a guitar show. Nice guy. Oh, nice. Love it. And badass guitar player.
He's so nice, dude. Yeah, he's so nice. I love it. Like, these guys that when I talk to them,
this is something me and Brett were talking about.
Oh, go ahead. What I was going to say is, I was going to say when I talk to these guys, whether it's email or texting or whatever, I don't go through agents and middlemen. I don't want to deal with that shit. Like I said, I'm not a promoter. If I got to do that, I just don't want them. I'm old school. I want a cell number. I want to talk to the guy. I want to make sure he's not some asshole, or egomaniac. And I want him to get along with all the other guys I got. Every guy that's ever been to a Headbangers Con, I have their number in my phone. I wish them Merry Christmas. They wish me Merry Christmas, whatever. I want it to be that way, like a family, like a heavy metal community, so it's important to me that I get to know these guys a little bit to see that they'll kind of get along with the other guys and the fans and they have the right intentions and that sort of thing. And then they get to know me too, and they see that I have the right intentions, and I'm not some slimy promoter just looking to make money. I don't give a shit if I make money on Headbangers Con. I don't do it for the money. I do it to rock out. I do it to hang with my favorite rock stars, man. It's all I care about, dude.
Yeah.
So, you know, like Bruce, like we're talking, you said how nice Bruce is. Like I emailed Bruce back and forth 20 times before we came to an agreement to get him to come out, just to get to know him and shoot the shit and stuff like that. And you realize he's a down-to-earth, awesome dude. And you know, I want that kind of guy to represent Headbangers Con. You know, I don't want some guy that's some asshole ex-guitarist that has problem with every band member and is going to come in there and cause a scene and be a dick to fans. You know, it's just not worth it to me. I don't care who you are or how big your name is. You know, it's not worth it. So yeah, just expanding on what you said. Sorry, it's just I want to expand on what you said about Bruce is a great guy. And so are all of these guys that I talk to. I make sure that they're great guys or girls when they sign up and stuff. And so that way fans have the best experience and they're not walking into some pretentious asshole, you know, trying to get a photo with them and stuff like that. So
yeah.
You
want the most down-to-earth, humble, and you know, just your regular Joe that's, you know, there to have a good time.
Exactly. I mean, I've dealt with a couple guys that I've talked to, a couple bands that I had to tell them to go fuck themselves, man, because they were giving me attitude and they were not the kind of people I wanted to deal with at all. And same with their agents, you know. Some of them I didn't even get past their agents, and I would sit there and their agents were dicks, like, and I would go around and I would message these guys on Instagram and I'd be like, screenshots like, here's what I'm dealing with your agent. This is the guy who's representing you, and this is the kind of bullshit. And I've had guys in bands fire their agents because of that, because they had no idea their agents were being such assholes to promoters trying to get them, you know, to perform or things like that, you know. Yeah, it's I find that's the worst part of this industry. It's not the artists, you know, and it's not
a tough gig.
It's the middleman. It's the guy making the money off of both the artist and the promoter. Those middlemen, a lot of those agents are just slime balls, dude. Mm-hmm. So I cut out them middleman. Fuck those guys, dude.
The sleazy slime ball.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, so I want to throw this question at you. The brawl. Who would win in a match? Ronnie James Dio or Lemmy Kilmister? Who's your take?
Oh, Ronnie James Dio by far, dude. Ronnie James Dio is. People say Lemmy is God, and I all respect to Lemmy. Okay, I'm not taking anything away from Lemmy.
Absolutely.
But Dio is God. All right, Dio is the heavy metal legend. He is God. He is up there with Ozzy. Dio's voice is just his scream. Oh. I don't care if he's 5'3". His scream would melt Lemmy, just melt him like the Wicked Witch. Just, like it's all in that voice, dude. That's the most powerful fucking voice in heavy metal history. Yeah, hands down, no contest.
Oh, I agree. He's the best. I love Ronnie James Dio. Dio is number one in my book.
Yep, I agree, man. I agree. Yep.
So let's move on into the sci-fi. Let's just go into the Star Wars. And myself and you were both Star Wars geeks. What if you had to do, like, I'm sure you've done Star Wars tattoos before. Or if you did, which one would be your favorite? What's your favorite Star Wars character, whether it be like characters themselves or the droids or even like the battleships, if you had a Millennium Falcon or Imperial Starfighter?
That's a great question. I love this question. I could talk all damn day about this question, man. This is awesome.
Let's do it. I got time.
I myself have my right leg. I have Yoda, Boba Fett, and Greedo tattooed on my right leg. I love it. My favorite, first and foremost, is any character out of the Cantina or Jabba's Palace. Okay. I love the Cantina, Hammerhead and Snaggletooth, Walrus Man. I love those guys, dude. And then Jabba's Palace, you know, Squid Head and the Gamorrean guards and those and Bib Fortuna. And I just love those aliens. I like the background aliens and wondering what their stories were and why they're there. Greedo, you know, like those are my favorite. I mean, everyone has Boba Fett, Darth Vader, Stormtrooper, you know. I never really gravitated towards the good guys, Luke and Han. I mean, Han's cool because he's a badass, you know, but I never gravitated towards the rebels. I always, or the Empire. I liked the middle guys, like the bounty hunters, and the aliens that just hanging out, getting fucked up in Jabba's palace. You watching the show, like that didn't give a shit about either side. You know, to me, those were the real badasses. You know what I mean? Like those were the real guys. Like so, those are my favorite characters. And in fact, I'm going to see my buddy Kyler, who's been in my tattoo artist for 10 years. He just opened his own shop. I'm going to see him Wednesday to start on a giant new piece on myself. He's going to start on it with Snaggletooth. Okay, so for your listeners who are familiar with the Star Wars action figures, you know, remember when they came out with the tiny red Snaggletooth in 77 on the original Star Wars line, and then the blue mail away that's everybody's holy grail, the Sears mail away blue Snaggletooth figure. Right, you could only get by mail, which is now worth hundreds of dollars. So I'm doing the red Snaggletooth and the blue Snaggletooth as like father and son for me and to represent me and my son. I'm doing giant ones on my thigh that are gonna look like the plastic action figures, like the 3 3/4 inch with the joints, you know, and stuff like that. So I'm gonna start that on Wednesday on my own thigh. So I guess that kind of counts to answer your question. It's not a tattoo that I've done, but it's one that I'm getting on myself. So I'm really looking forward to that. How about you?
I want to hear about your toy collection, actually. Oh,
yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I want to know what your favorite Star Wars character is.
Well, you can't go wrong with the droids R2, 3PO, and all that. Right. Favorite one, you have to go with Darth Vader is one of my favorites, but if it was all metal, you would think the Emperor is the biggest metal head around.
That's true. The Emperor is Ronnie James Dio. So I think Vader's like Ozzy or something, and you know, like, and you know. I guess, you know, like Lemmy would be like Darth Maul or something, you know, so I love it.
Yeah. I want to hear about your toy collection, favorite toy collection, and what's something that you're gearing towards that you haven't gotten yet that you want to get.
That's a great question. I love this question. This question actually turns me on because it's so fucking fun to talk about, dude. I love it. I would say I have probably the biggest. So when I talk toy collection, this is all mint on card. Okay. This isn't loose figures. Okay. This is in the package, original packaging. To me as a collector, it's got to be in the package. Okay. So I'm just going to preface with that.
Absolutely.
That being said, I have probably one of the largest original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle collections at least on the West Coast. I have probably 200 figures and 50, 60 vehicles, you know, a couple play sets, all mint in package. Those are all displayed at my tattoo shop here, Area 51 Tattoo in Springfield, Oregon. I have probably 100 original Star Wars figures still in package, along with most all vehicles and play sets, even the Death Star play set, Dagobah, Hoth, I got all of them in box,
Wow.
all the little mini rig vehicles, all that kind of stuff. So I have a great Star Wars collection. Kind of what we talked about before, the LJN original rubber WWF wrestlers. I think I have 75 or 79 mint in package, including Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, Macho Man, Andre the Giant. I got all those guys in package. So that's a pretty huge collection I have. And then I like a lot of little collections, like where you can complete the whole collection, like that's newer, like Cadillacs and Dinosaurs or Skeleton Warriors, things like that. God, there's just so many. I love it. I love collecting that kind of stuff, So I have quite a few, but I'd say action figures is my thing. But my pride and joy is my Simpsons collection. I actually have, I would say, top 10 Simpsons collections in the world. So big that my ultimate goal is to open a Simpsons museum since I live in Springfield, Oregon. That is my goal, is to open an actual museum where people can come see all of the Simpsons memorabilia, which ranges from toys to autographs of celebrities that have played Simpsons characters, to creating my own paintings and my own art, fan art, everything from toothbrushes to, what clothing, whatever, anything Simpsons that they made from 87, 89 to today, there's a good chance I'd have it. So I'm always out there looking for Simpson stuff. And I think nowadays I'm more into, as an artist, I'm more into fan art, what fans create. I have the licensed stuff, anyone can get that when you buy it on eBay. You just pay a premium, you get it.
Yeah.
I'm kind of out of that, now I'm into more like, I want original paintings and skateboard decks and stuff that are one of a kind that only fans have done, clay sculptures and hand woven rugs and cool stuff, so I'm in all these Simpsons groups on Instagram. I have a page called The Simpsons Museum, which all I do, I don't sell shit, I don't promote shit. All I do is share people's original fan art from around the world. I have all Simpsons artists send me all their stuff, and I just share it for everybody to see. And I love doing it. I just love spreading the art for Simpsons and stuff. So I would say that's probably, like, if you're asking collections, that's probably my favorite or biggest, or one I'm always most into, Yeah.
Dude, that would be so cool if you put the museum together. That would be badass. And if you do, definitely let me know. And I've got my family's a huge, they love Simpsons. So
awesome. Love it. I'll definitely let you know, man.
You mentioned your tattoo shop. Talk more about Area 51 Tattoo in Springfield, Oregon.
Yeah, it's I wish I could. You're on my computer screen. I wish I could just move it to show you the shop. The shop is it's like a museum. Every artist, I'm looking right now. I have an artist who's into He-Man, right? So his whole tattoo area is all vintage He-Man action figures and paintings and stuff like that. I have another guy who's into Willy Wonka and Elvira and Garbage Pail Kids. A weird combo, I know, but his whole corner is all that kind of stuff. I have someone else that's into wrestling. Everyone has kind of every artist has their own. If you work here at my shop, you have to be a collector. You have to be a geek. You don't have to just tattoo geeky stuff, but you got to fit in with that family, and that mindset. So every artist here is a huge collector in their own right. So if someone comes to Area 51, which you'll know from Epic Ink, I mean, what it showed on my TV show is real life. It's what it is. That's one thing I'm so proud of is Epic Ink. I can honestly say, because I know a lot of people from a lot of reality shows, and they all say it's bullshit and it's fake. Epic Ink is the most real reality show there's ever been. And I'm not even joking. Everything we said was not scripted. It was us. Every toy, every painting, everything that was hanging, we made, we collected, we bought. They were from our childhood, and I'm really proud of that. And I've carried that on through the years in my shop, where everyone that's here is a legitimate geek, nerd, metalhead, you name it. And they are. So someone comes in and they want Pokemon. I'm not going to do Pokemon. I'm going to send them over to somebody else who knows Pokemon, whereas you might go into another shop and they have to look up, oh, what's that character? What color is that character? They're like, oh, you want so-and-so? Okay, here's my orange and blue colors and let's do it. And they just know their shit. And it's important for me, for my artists, to know their shit when it comes to geeky stuff, People travel around the world and come to me for Simpsons tattoos because they know that it's not fake. I know what I'm doing because I'm a fan foremost, and I'm going to give them the best tattoo possible, and I'm not going to fuck it up, So that's one thing I'm really proud about at this shop, is that we are who we say we are, and we're legitimate fans. And when we're not tattooing, we're painting this shit. And we're doing our own art. And you come in here and it's like an art gallery. There's paintings everywhere. There's toys everywhere. There's not an inch of open wall space. It drives me crazy to have open wall space. Drives me crazy. Even the ceilings. I think I have 500. I have 500 skateboards hanging on the ceiling. There's no ceiling space. So everything old school,
with
Powell
the truck,
Peralta,
without the trucks.
Cruz. It's awesome. Yeah, it's awesome. So, I mean, you're at work, a big percentage of your life, right? I mean, you're there you're there 75% of the week. You're at your work. So why not make it fun if you can? I have everything here that I want to be surrounded by that inspires you. You're an artist or you're a musician. You have to be inspired constantly. So why not surround yourself with shit that inspires you, whether it's visual stimuli or whatever the case may be,
Yeah. So all those skateboards that you have, are they with the trucks or is it just the decks?
Some of the old school ones, some of the original ones still have the original trucks and wheels, the slime ball wheels or the OJ2s or the rat bones, Some of them still have them on there, but most of them are decks. Yeah. I just love the art. I was a skater when I was younger. Now my knees are like, fuck you. You're not skating anymore, but I love the artwork. The skateboard art is one of the main reasons I'm an artist. I just loved it especially Powell Peralta, when they first came out with Tony Hawk and Caballero's Dragon, and all these the Ripper, the skull coming out of oh my God, that shit's so cool. Like that's one of the things that inspired a lot of artists my age was old skateboard decks. So I still collect them to this day for the artwork. I'll even go to like Zoomies at the mall and I'll have 3 decks. And they look at my 50-year-old ass like, are you going to skate on these? I'm like, hell no. These are to hang up. This is artwork, So it's funny.
So we're on the subject of skateboards. If you can do your own skateboard, I don't know if you have, but if you did, what would you throw on that deck? What would you paint on there?
I've done a lot. I actually was into skateboard art for a while. So I've done a lot of my own skateboards, a lot of Simpsons characters, a lot of rare random Simpsons characters that were, one episode only type things. And I've had serious collectors buy them that, knew the characters and stuff. My favorite one I ever did once was I did Spock from Star Trek. I did the Virgin Mary, the very Hispanic looking border, the Virgin Mary kind of like praying like this. I did it as Spock with doing his fingers like that in a prayer, and I did Spock as the Virgin Mary, not as a knock on religion, because I'm a religious guy, not a knock on that at all, but just as something fun to do, Spock looking all serene like Mother Mary, and I think that was probably my favorite skateboard deck I've done. And I got this. Oh, pretty cool. I designed this one too. I designed that. You can tell.
Oh, hell yeah.
Right?
Okay, for all of you that are listening to the pod and can't see it, it's a deck with Headbangers Con on there.
And you can tell that guy I created, right, is like straight up a ripoff of old Powell Peralta meets heavy metal art. Somewhere in the middle, that's my mind, is I'm going to take pieces that inspire me from stuff like that. You know, I had Derek Riggs, the Iron Maiden artist, he designed this painting for me back here of Eddie smashing a guitar.
Oh, wow.
He did that for me for the very first Headbangers ever. I commissioned him to do this original art. I was like, dude, I want Eddie, like, you know, I'm in the Northwest, so I kind of want him in like jeans and a flannel, like that grunge look you would expect Northwest to be, because it's always raining and shit, and people wear nothing but that up here. But I want him smashing like an 80s, like Nikki Sixx, Mick Mars style 80s guitar, you know? So Derek Riggs created that for me. I love it. And I kind of took that art and mixed it with skateboard Powell Peralta art and came up with my own Headbangers logo now. And I designed that, my newer one I designed myself. And now I have other artists too that are wanting to work on logos for me and stuff like that. I have Claudio Beef is a guy who designed the Judas Priest Lightning Strikes album cover. He is now. Oh wow! He asked if he could do a design for me, and I was like, I would be honored, dude. I would love that. So he's like, what do you have in mind? I was like, what I've always envisioned is a Frank Frazetta, like famous, you know the famous one where Luke Skywalker is holding up the saber and Princess Leia's like wrapped around his leg. You know, you'd see like Conan the Barbarian. Yeah, you'd see Conan doing the same thing with some girl boobs popping out, draping on his leg. Yes. I'm like, all right, dude, this is what I want. And I don't care. Cancel culture, cancel me all you want. I don't give a fuck. This is what I want. I want a Vince Neil, David Lee Roth looking blonde-haired heavy metal singer, right? Standing like a badass, holding a guitar. And I want two hot, big boobed stripper looking girls with boobs popping out, side boob, gotta have side boob. And I want them one on each leg, like worshiping this heavy metal god. And I'm like, it's gonna piss off some liberals, and I don't give a shit. Let it do it, because that's heavy metal and that's what I want. So he's in the middle right now of designing that idea for me. Hell yeah. And I can't wait to release that, dude. I can't wait. He's doing such an amazing job on it. So that'll actually be, oh man, that artwork will be like, it'll be on t-shirts and prints, limited edition, only for this Headbangers Con Seattle. Like, it will only be available there. I might have a few leftovers I throw on the website afterwards, but it's one and done. It's not. It's just for this show. So I'm pretty excited to kind of unveil that soon. I imagine within the next few weeks he'll be done. So
sounds good. Can't wait to hear. You guys wait to see that.
Yeah.
We're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. I want to thank Chris51 for coming on the show. And you can find him at chris51.com and all his social media. You can, as well as headbangerscon.com. If you wouldn't mind throwing out your social media.
Yeah, everything's Chris51, some shit. Chris51 official is my Instagram. Headbangers Con across everything. It's all, you'll find it. It's all out there, man. But, I just want to tell people, too, that if you have any questions about Headbangers Con or guests, or you just want to talk heavy metal, message me. I run all the social media myself. I don't sleep ever. I enjoy talking metal. Same with art. If you're on Chris51 official, Instagram, Facebook, message me. You want to talk Simpsons, you want to talk Star Wars, you want to talk skateboarding, wrestling. Like, I love it, dude. That's why it's called social media. I like being social. I answer all my own messages.
Oh, absolutely.
I enjoy it. I enjoy getting to know people, and whether it's geek stuff or the heavy metal community, it's all a brotherhood to me, man. I love it. And let's just hit me up, man. Let's bullshit. So, and I want to thank you, Nelson, man. I ran my yapper for a long time. And I'm sorry for those of you that I bored to death. But I appreciate you, man, and what you do here. This is pretty awesome, dude.
And we appreciate you too. And for everybody that wants to get ink done, go to Area 51 shop over in Springfield, Oregon, and hit up Chris and get her done. If there's anything else you would like to add before we close this out, go right ahead, sir.
I think I've talked way too much, man. I've talked enough. I just appreciate you helping promote Headbangers Con. As you can see, you know, aside from my personal stuff, I don't care about that. You know, I do what I do, but Headbangers Con is my baby, and I do it for the right reasons. I do it to bring the metal community together, and I don't do it for money. I don't do it for fame. I do it because I love this community and this music and everything, the culture, everything that revolves around heavy metal, any kind of heavy metal, hard rock, rock and roll. You know, I love it. And so I appreciate, you know, when guys like you, Nelson, and Brett, you know, when you guys help promote it, when you promote a good thing like this, that's being done for the right reasons. That means a lot to me. So thank you. And just know that when you follow Headbangers Con, or when you go to Headbangers Con in person, that I will be there. I will be the first one to greet you. I will be answering your messages. I will rock out with you. I'll be in the fucking mosh pit with you, man. I am right there. So thank you for your support, man. And it is real, and it means a lot to me. So
hell yeah. From the metal community, we thank you. And for myself and Brutal Brett, this has been an episode of Fun Never Podcast. Go to funneverspodcast.com for everything Fun Never Podcast, and as well as Headbangers Con. Go to headbangerscon.com and follow them for ticket details coming soon. Go to it, and let's all have a ball. Thank you, and we'll catch you next time.